It's got your transmission connections on here already. It's got your drain plug on here already. Make sure your drain plug is tight. Take your drain plug out first. Check to make sure it has an O-ring on it. There's your O-ring, a little rubbery little thing. Before you start putting that expensive coolant in there. We took off the bracket on the right side, passenger side. Our driver's side of the radiator, we loosen the bracket up. We loosen it up a lot because you want that bracket to move, because you need to manipulate it around the structure inside the vehicle. And you also need to manipulate it inside the alignment hole for this alignment pin. This is the back side. This is the front side. We loosened the top bolt on the passenger side on the old bracket, but we left the old bracket in the vehicle. Your lines on the bottom are going to catch on your fan shroud at the bottom, so move that out of your way. Once you move that out of your way, you come here to your driver's side, align your pin, that alignment pin. Once you align it, your radiator will set in there. I like to use the factory bolts. I think they're better quality. The aftermarket bolts, I don't really like them. They're 13 millimeter. I don't want to use them. I want to use the old bolts. And this thing didn't come with any, it didn't come with any rubber washers either, the new one. So once you get your top passenger side bolt in, you just come on the bottom, tighten this one up, keep everything loose. You need it to be loose to reinstall your bracket bolts on your driver's side first. So first thing first, since you have the radiator in here and you have your driver's side alignment hole for your bracket in the vehicle, you want to put the bracket bolts back in the radiator bracket on the driver's side. Do that first. All right, here we go, about 12 millimeter, and we're installing our bracket bolts loosely. We got our first one in, and the other one is very hard to get to. Very hard to get to. This might take some time. We didn't remove the bottom passenger bracket bolt. We didn't loosen it either. We kept all this hardware in on the passenger side bracket. But the driver side bracket, we took the old bracket completely out. So now we got a new radiator in with the new bracket, and we have our two bracket bolts installed. One up here through the grill and one further down there. Very hard to get to, but easy to find. We have those bracket bolts tight now. So we reused the factory bolts, washers, and the rubber grommet. The new radiator didn't come with that hardware. That's gonna absorb some of the vibration from the road and from the engine vibration. All right, now we're gonna go and get our 12 millimeter and we're gonna tighten our bracket bolts up top. Make sure this nut right here is in the bottom. See how that nut is kind of out of there. You need to pick up on the radiator slightly, like this. You want that nut to be seated in there and tighten it down. Now this radiator is a little cheaper than our factory, so be careful how much you tighten it down, because as you can see, I can crack my radiator if I over torque this thing. And we're gonna tighten this, our passenger side. These are gonna be your golden screws. Make sure these are orientated the same way as your old radiator. It should be parallel with the bottom of the radiator. Don't tighten down too much. You will crack this plastic shroud. Now we're ready for our hoses. Our upper radiator hose, I think this might be the inlet. We want to get this replaced because we have that same pitting from the corrosion over the years. So that pitting may cause this to leak in the future, and we don't want that. We want a tight seal. So we're gonna go get another inlet housing, maybe. So we put our radiator hose in the same orientation and clamp that it was on the old one, because doing this down in there is a pain, and you know what. Studs, they might come out with or without the nuts, but I pulled them all out so I can put them all back in myself. Taking those studs out makes it easier to get this thing off of here without taking off your belts. So we put the first stud in all the way with your finger tight until it stops. Then start one nut on the first stud. That way it stays up there for you. You don't have to hold it. Come in here with your next stud. This part of the stud, the short threads go in the engine, all right? Long threads are for your nut. Get the new clamps from the dealer, we put it in place, and it's clamped. Adjust it to fit evenly on your rubber hose. Just do not put it on the beveled edge of your pipe. You can see the beveled edge right here. You want it on the complete flat surface of your pipe. Upper radiator hose installation. Got our new clamps again. Set them where you need them. And pull your tab. Boom, brand new spring-loaded clamps. Awesome. Remember to keep the clamp away from the beveled edge. When I say beveled edge, that's what I mean. Sometimes you can kind of see that through the pipe. Move that clamp away from the beveled edge. The beveled edge is about here. You can feel your beveled edge through your pipe. Set it in position. So after about 1.5 gallons, I started getting some backflow. So I like to start the vehicle up when I start getting those backflows through the radiator. I start the vehicle and I continue to pour after it gets filled while the vehicle is running. Then we need to drive it for 10 minutes, bring it back, and check the level in the reservoir right here. After we check the level, we put some more coolant in the reservoir and we take it back out, drive it for 5 more minutes, bring it back, check the reservoir again. As we're checking and filling, we're not going to be taking this cap off when we're putting antifreeze in this vehicle. You keep the radiator cap on, you're gonna fill it through here. So you can feel it while it's hot right here because there's no pressure right here. The pressure is in here. And the indicator for full or empty is on the inside. There's your full line, I think somewhere here, and your low line. I have the vehicle running as I'm filling it because I want the water pump to be working. We're hoping that the thermostat will open up a little bit and let some coolant through the entire system. And to check to see if we're really full, just squeeze this pipe up here and that'll let you know that you're almost full. Not completely full, but you're pretty close to being full. So we're just gonna leave it at that. This is the last time we're taking off that cap. We're not gonna touch that cap anymore.